The rain fell hard over the colony fields, turning the dirt roads into rivers of mud. People were running toward the main square, holding old umbrellas and pieces of metal over their heads. Something strange had arrived, something worth laughing at. A broken transport cage stood in the middle of the square, steam rising from its metal frame. Inside sat a creature, no, a girl. Her skin was pale gray-blue, rough like bark, her hair tangled in dirty knots. Her large golden eyes blinked slowly, scared, lost, and tired. "She smells worse than a dead spore beast," someone shouted. The crowd laughed. Another voice joined in. Only a fool would take that thing home. But one man didn't laugh. Eli Ward stood at the edge of the crowd, his old brown coat soaked in rain, hat pulled low. He was a farmer, a quiet one. People in town called him soft. He never argued, never fought. He just worked day and night, keeping to himself. Now, as he looked at the creature inside the cage, something stirred inside him. She was trembling, hugging her knees, her eyes darting around like a hunted animal. She wasn't a monster. She was afraid. "Who's buying this one?" The trader barked, slapping the cage. "Half price. She's useless for work, but she eats little." More laughter. The girl flinched at every sound. "I'll take her," Eli said quietly. The laughter stopped. People turned. Even the trader froze for a second. "What did you say, farmer?" "I said I'll take her," Eli repeated. His voice was calm but steady. "How much?" The trader smirked. 2 credits. "She's your problem now." Eli paid without another word. He opened the cage slowly, the hinges creaking. The alien girl didn't move. She stared at him, confused. Then, seeing no weapon in his hand, she crawled out. Her bare feet sank into the mud. The rain washed some dirt off her skin, revealing faint blue patterns, like veins that glowed faintly beneath the surface. The crowd watched as Eli placed his coat over her shoulders. "Come on," he said softly. "Let's get you out of the rain." As they walked away, whispers followed. "Crazy farmer. She'll kill him before dawn." Maybe she already did, and that's her disguise. Eli ignored them. He could feel her shaking beside him. Every step she took, she glanced around like she expected someone to strike her. He didn't speak again until they reached his small farm on the hill outside the colony. The barn light flickered in the distance. Inside, warmth returned. The smell of hay and oil lamps filled the air. He gave her an old blanket and a bowl of warm soup. She sniffed it but didn't eat. Her eyes stayed locked on him. "You're safe here," he said. "You can rest." She pointed at herself, struggling with the words.
"You..."
"No afraid?" Eli shook his head. "No, should I be?" She blinked fast. Her lips trembled. "They say I bad monster." He smiled gently. "You look like someone who needs food and sleep." That's all. For the first time, her eyes softened. She took a small sip of the soup. The warmth seemed to surprise her. Outside, the rain kept falling. The sound was soft, peaceful now. But deep in the dark of the barn, something else moved. Faint lights flickering beneath her skin like small stars trapped inside her body. Eli didn't see it. That night, as he lay in bed, he heard soft crying from the barn. Then a voice whispered, weak and broken, Not monster, please, don't send me back." Eli sat up in the dark, heart pounding. She could speak English, not well, but enough. What had been done to her? Who was she running from? Outside, lightning flashed across the sky, lighting up the fields. For a moment, the farm looked like another world. 2 lonely souls under endless rain. And though he didn't know it yet, that night would change everything. The morning sun broke through the clouds, soft and golden after the long night of rain. Steam rose from the wet fields. Eli Ward walked to the barn, rubbing sleep from his eyes. He hadn't slept much. The sound of that girl's voice, "Please, don't send me back," still echoed in his head. When he opened the door, the smell hit him first, not bad, just strange. The air felt heavy, charged, like before a thunderstorm. The alien girl was awake. She was sitting on a pile of hay, blanket wrapped around her thin shoulders, her golden eyes watching the door carefully. "Morning," Eli said, his tone calm, gentle. She didn't answer. Her eyes darted to the open door, then to the window as if she was still expecting to run. "I made food," he said, showing a bowl of porridge. "Warm, no poison." That made her blink. Then slowly she took the bowl, sniffed it, and ate a small bite. The way she ate, careful, quick, like she didn't trust the world, that made his heart ache. "What's your name?" he asked after a while. She looked up, uncertain. Nira, she said softly. Nira. He nodded. I'm Eli. She repeated it. Eli. The sound of his name in her strange accent made him smile. He watched as she tried to stand. Her legs shook. She was weak, but not just from hunger. Her body seemed different. Her skin shimmered faintly when sunlight touched it, like there was energy moving beneath the surface. Do you feel all right? He asked. She pressed a hand to her chest. Cold, she whispered. But not dead. Her voice cracked on the last word. Eli didn't ask what she meant. He could see she'd been through something terrible. As the day went on, Eli worked outside, repairing fences and checking crops. But something strange kept happening. When he passed by the barn, he felt a warmth spreading through the air. Faint but real. Once, when he came closer, he saw the plants near the barn door, growing, their leaves greener, fresher than before. He blinked. That's not possible. Later that evening, he entered the barn again. Nira was sitting on the floor, holding her hands out in front of her. Between them floated tiny sparks of light like fireflies. They flickered softly, rising and falling with her breath. Eli froze. The air vibrated. A faint hum filled the space, low, deep, and alive. She noticed him and gasped, quickly closing her hands. The light vanished. I'm sorry, she cried, her voice breaking. Please don't tell, they hurt. Hey, Eli said, stepping closer, voice calm. I'm not telling anyone, her eyes filled with tears. They hate what I am. Eli crouched down beside her. And what are you, Nira? She looked away. Broken thing. He shook his head. You're alive. That's all that matters. For a long moment, neither spoke. The rain had stopped outside, but the world still felt heavy with secrets. Finally, Nira whispered, You, good human. But they not let you keep me? Who? Her voice dropped to a fearful whisper. Hunters, Eli frowned. Hunters? She nodded, her hands trembling. They track my kind. They sell. They kill. I escape. They find soon. The words hit him like cold wind. He looked toward the window. The colony road shimmered in the distance. If she was right, they might already be coming. That night, Eli sat near the barn door with his old rifle resting across his knees. He didn't believe in fate or destiny, but for the first time he felt like he was standing in the middle of something much bigger than his small farm. Inside the barn, faint blue light pulsed from where Nira slept, like a heartbeat echoing in the dark. The wind howled across the dark fields that night. Clouds covered the moon, and the world outside Eli Ward's farmhouse felt quiet. Too quiet. Inside the barn, the lamps flickered weakly. Nira lay curled under her blanket, glowing faintly with soft blue light. Every few seconds, the glow pulsed like a heartbeat. Eli sat near the door, his old rifle across his knees, eyes half open but alert. He couldn't stop thinking about her words. They find soon. The wind carried sounds from far away, whispers, footsteps maybe only in his imagination. But then came something real, the low growl of engines. Eli stood up. His pulse quickened. Through the small window he saw 3 dark shapes moving down the dirt road. Vehicles silent but fast, their lights off. Hunters, Nira whispered behind him, already awake. Her voice shook. They come. Hide, Eli said firmly. Go now. Nira stared at him. They kill you. He loaded his rifle with calm hands. Let's make them try. The first truck stopped near the gate. Armed men jumped out, their armor marked with the red symbol of a private alien trade company, a cruel circle with a claw inside it. One of them lifted a scanner, sweeping it toward the barn. She's in there, he said. The leader smiled. Bring the farmer too. They pay more when we show we clean up messes. Eli took a deep breath, then kicked the barn door open. The hunters turned, surprised. This is private land, he shouted. Leave now, the leader laughed. Old man, that's not a person you're hiding. That's property, Eli raised his rifle. Not tonight. The first shot cracked through the cold air. The bullet hit one man's shoulder, spinning him back. The rest ducked, returning fire. Sparks burst off the metal gate. Inside the barn, Nira covered her ears, eyes glowing bright with fear. Each gunshot echoed inside her mind like thunder. She could feel Eli's heartbeat, fast, strong, human. Something deep inside her began to rise, something she had buried long ago. Eli fired again, then dropped behind a barrel as bullets ripped through the wooden wall. His breath came heavy, his hands shaking. He was outnumbered and badly. Suddenly the light in the barn grew stronger. Blue-white rays spilled out through the cracks. The air vibrated. "Nira," he called out. She stepped forward, eyes blazing like suns. The air around her shimmered. The bullets that entered the barn stopped in midair, hanging like metal dust. Outside, the hunters froze. "What the hell?" Nira lifted her hand. The bullets dropped to the ground. Then came a wave of light, silent but powerful, sweeping across the field. The hunters were thrown backward, weapons torn from their hands. The truck's engines exploded with bursts of energy, lighting up the night sky. Eli shielded his face, the heat burning his skin. When he looked up, Nira stood in the center of the storm, hair floating, eyes glowing, her entire body pulsing with blue fire. Then it was over. The light faded. The night fell silent again, broken trucks smoking in the distance. Eli slowly walked toward her. "Nira." She fell to her knees, trembling, weak. I didn't want to hurt," she whispered. "They make me." Eli caught her before she collapsed. Her skin felt hot, her pulse strange and uneven. "You saved me," he said quietly. Her eyes flickered open, golden light dimming. "You, kind human, you fight. For me. I'd do it again," he said simply. Outside, sirens echoed from the colony. The townspeople had heard everything. As Eli looked toward the horizon, red warning lights flickered in the sky. Patrol drones scanning the area. He knew more people would come, and next time they might not stop to ask questions. But for now, as Nira slept in his arms, he made a silent promise. "No one takes you again. Not while I'm breathing." Dawn came slow and quiet after the night of fire. The smoke from the broken hunter truck still drifted across the field, painting the air gray. Eli Ward stood beside the barn, his coat torn, his hands shaking slightly. He hadn't slept. Nira lay on the hay inside, breathing softly. Her blue glow had faded, leaving only faint silver lines on her skin like rivers of light under the surface. She looked peaceful now, fragile, almost human. Eli poured water into a tin cup and placed it beside her. He didn't know what she was exactly, but one thing was certain: the world outside would never understand her. The colony guards would come soon, and they'd see the burned trucks, the bodies, the strange marks on the ground. He couldn't let them find her. When Nira woke, sunlight filled the barn. She sat up slowly, wincing as pain rippled through her arms. Eli was packing supplies and food, blankets, a few old tools. "You're leaving," she said softly. "We," he corrected. "We're leaving." Her golden eyes widened. "You not afraid of me?" Eli looked at her for a long moment. "You saved my life. Fear doesn't change that." She didn't know what to say. In her world, kindness like that didn't exist anymore. They left before noon, moving through the back trails and old roads that twisted through the forest hills beyond the colony. Birds chirped in the trees and the wind smelled clean. For the first time, Nira looked around without fear. But as they walked, her silence grew heavier. Something in her eyes, sadness, maybe guilt, lingered. Finally, Eli asked, "What are you running from, Nira? Who are you, really?" She stopped walking. Her hands trembled. "You want truth?" Yes, she looked at the sky. "Long ago my kind come here. Before humans, we create life, build worlds. But humans born wild, free, we think you..." "Mistake." Eli frowned. "A mistake?" She nodded slowly. "They fear you. Humans grow fast, strong, brave. My people call you the broken creation. They send hunters to control. Some humans fight back. War came. My kind lost many." Eli stood still, stunned. "You're saying your people made us?" She looked at him with pain in her eyes. "Yes, but not all wanted control. Some, like me, love what you are. I speak for humans. I say, let them live free. They call me traitor. They mark me with light," she said, touching the glowing veins on her arm, "and send me to die on cold worlds." Eli didn't speak. He could see tears rolling down her gray-blue cheeks. "You think I'm monster," she whispered. He shook his head. "I think you're proof that even gods can be wrong." Nira stared at him, confused. "Why you help me?" "Because you needed someone." "And maybe," Eli said quietly, "because humans are meant to protect what others throw away." For the first time, she smiled. Small, gentle, and real. That night, they camped in a cave near the mountains. The stars shone bright through the opening, scattered across the sky like 1,000 stories untold. Nira sat near the fire, her hands glowing faintly as she traced symbols in the dirt. Circles, spirals, and strange lines. What's that? Eli asked. Map, she said, to the place I was born. If I reach it, I can call my people, but... Her voice trembled. They not forgive me. They want me erased. Then we find another way, he said. Nira looked at him, eyes glistening in the firelight. You trust too much. Eli smiled faintly. Someone has to, but outside beyond the hills, red lights flickered in the dark. Drones, the colony's machines, went searching. The storm wasn't over, and far above, in the cold silence of space, something ancient was waking. Something that had been waiting for Nira to make her next move. The mountains were colder than Eli expected. The wind cut through his coat, sharp as glass. By evening, clouds had rolled in again, heavy with snow. He and Nira took shelter in an old mining tunnel carved deep into the rock. The air was damp, smelling of rust and dust. Eli lit a small fire, its flicker painting their faces orange. Nira sat near the entrance, watching the horizon. Her eyes glowed faintly like two embers in the dark. Scanners are close, she whispered. I can feel them. Eli adjusted the rifle beside him. How many? 2 drones. Maybe soldiers. They come slow, but they come sure. He sighed. We'll have to move again soon. Nira turned toward him. You always protect me, why? He smiled faintly, poking the fire with a stick. Because it's the right thing to do. She tilted her head, trying to understand. My people say right thing only mattered a week. They say, mercy is sickness. Eli looked at her. Then maybe I'm sick too. For a moment, silence filled the cave. Only the fire crackled. Then softly, Nira said, sickness like that, maybe good thing. She smiled, small and uncertain. It was the first real smile he'd seen from her. Later that night, they heard the sound, a mechanical hum echoing through the valley. Drones. The walls of the cave vibrated. Nira stood up, eyes wide. They found us. Eli grabbed his rifle. Stay behind me. The drones appeared in the tunnel mouth, silver, round, with blinking red sensors. They scanned the air, beams of light slicing through the smoke. Then came the soldiers, armored figures with rifles glowing blue. There, one shouted. By the fire. Gunfire erupted. The sound filled the cave like thunder. Eli pushed Nira back and fired. The first shot cracked through one drone sensor, shattering it. Sparks burst in the dark. But another beam hit him, slicing across his shoulder. He stumbled, pain shooting through his body. Eli, Nira cried, rushing to him. He fell to one knee, blood soaking through his sleeve. Go, run. No, her voice shook. Not again. I lose too much already. The soldiers advanced. Target confirmed and classy entity. Terminate both. Nira's eyes filled with tears. You hurt him. You all hurt too many. The lights inside the cave flickered. A deep humming sound rose from the ground. Her veins began to glow in a bright, blinding blue. The fire died, replaced by a pulse of energy so strong the rocks trembled. Eli tried to speak, but the air felt thick, electric. Stop. Nira, he managed, but it was too late. A wave of light exploded from her body, tearing through the cave. The soldiers were thrown against the walls. The drones shattered like glass. The mountain itself groaned. When the light faded, the tunnel was silent again, smoke and dust drifting through the air. Eli lay on the ground, barely breathing. Nira crawled to him, her strength fading fast. You alive? She whispered. Still am, he said weakly, forcing a small smile. Guess they're not. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I used too much. My body break, then rest, he said softly. You did good. She pressed her hand to his wound. The blue glow returned, softer this time. Eli felt warmth spreading through him, pain fading. The wound began to close. He stared at her, amazed. You're healing me? She nodded faintly. Heart strong. Human heart. Must live. Her light dimmed as she leaned against him. You teach me. Love not weakness, love power. He held her close. And you remind me. Humanity isn't just ours. Outside the cave, snow began to fall, quiet, slow, peaceful. For the first time in a long while, the world seemed calm. But somewhere far away, a signal had been sent. A warning flashing through the stars. Nira was alive, and her people were coming. The snowstorm had passed, leaving the mountain world quiet and silver. The air was sharp, each breath cold enough to sting. Eli and Nira sat at the mouth of the cave, watching the sunrise spread gold across the sky. For a moment, it almost felt like peace. But peace never lasted long in their story. Above them, far beyond the clouds, something massive moved. Dark shapes cutting across the stars. Nira looked up, her expression tightening. "They are here," she whispered. Eli followed her gaze. At first he saw nothing. Then faint streaks of light in the sky, descending fast. Ships. Too many to count. "The hunters?" he asked. Nira nodded slowly. "Not just hunters. My people. The council. They come to finish what started long ago." Eli felt his stomach twist. "They know you're alive." "I used too much power," she said softly. "They felt it. Across stars. They know where I am." The words hung heavy between them. By midday, the colony below the mountain was in chaos. Alarm sirens echoed through the valleys, warning of unidentified crafts entering orbit. Military shuttles rose from launch pads while civilians rushed underground. Eli and Nira watched from the ridge. Smoke trails cut the sky where human ships tried, and failed, to match the alien fleet's speed. Eli clenched his fists. "They don't stand a chance, do they?" Nira's golden eyes shimmered. "Your weapon, small, but your heart, strong. They always underestimate that." She turned toward him. "I can stop them. But if I do, I may not come back." Eli stared at her, the words hitting him like a hammer. "There has to be another way." "There is not." She smiled sadly. "They come for me. They destroy your world to find me. If I go to them, maybe they spare you." "No," he said firmly. "You're not going anywhere alone. You cannot fight gods, Eli." He looked at her, dirt on his face, blood still drying from old wounds, eyes tired but burning with human stubbornness. "Then I'll remind them what gods forgot. We don't kneel easy." As the first alien ships entered the atmosphere, the ground began to shake. Blue fire streaked the sky. Nira stood at the cliff's edge, her body glowing faintly again. Her voice trembled. "They will see me soon. When they do, they strike." "Then let's make it count," Eli said, gripping his rifle. Moments later, beams of energy lanced through the clouds, slamming into the valley below. The colony's defenses fired back, missiles and lasers cutting through smoke. The war had begun. A massive shadow passed overhead. The alien mothership, black and silent, hovered above the mountains. Its hull shimmered with runes of light. Then through the clouds a voice boomed, deep, metallic, almost alive. "Nira of the broken light, you disobeyed. You lived among the error. Return or all will burn." Eli felt the ground vibrate under his feet. He shouted into the sky, "She's not your slave." The voice ignored him. Nira stepped forward, tears glinting in her eyes. "They will not stop, Eli. I must end it." He grabbed her hand. "You're not alone." The blue glow in her skin brightened, pulsing like a heartbeat. "If I go, remember me as light, not weapon." Before he could answer, a beam of light enveloped her. The air shimmered. She began to rise slowly, drawn upward toward the ship. Eli tried to hold on, but his fingers slipped through her glowing skin. "Nira," he shouted, voice breaking. Her last words echoed faintly through the wind. "The human heart, stronger than any power." And then she was gone. Eli fell to his knees, snow melting under his tears. The ships above turned silent for a moment, then began to pull away, disappearing back into the clouds. The world grew quiet again, but something deep in the sky shimmered, a wave of light spreading outward, soft and beautiful. Every radio, every monitor, every soldier's visor lit up with a single signal. A voice, Nira's voice, whispering through the static, "Do not fear the gods." Humanity was never their mistake. It was their hope. Winter faded slowly that year. The mountains, once covered in silver snow, began to show green again. The war that had nearly come never reached the colony. The alien ships had left, vanishing into the endless dark above. But Eli Ward stayed. His farm lay in ruins, his barn half burned from the battle. Yet every morning he rebuilt a little, a wall here, a gate there, as if keeping his promise alive with every hammer strike. Sometimes when the wind passed through the valley, he swore he could still hear her voice, soft, gentle, echoing through the quiet fields, the human heart. Stronger than any power, he smiled at that. He didn't know if it was memory or miracle, but it gave him reason to keep breathing. Months passed. The colony rebuilt itself stronger than before. People no longer mocked the farmer who once bought the ugly alien girl. They called him the man who faced the sky and didn't run. Yet Eli rarely spoke of that night. How could he explain it? How could he make them understand the way she looked when she rose into the light, or the way the world changed after? Because it did change. The soil on his farm had turned darker, richer. The crops grew faster, stronger, like the earth itself remembered her touch. Even the animals seemed calmer. Nature was healing, and it started from his land. Scientists came, measured the energy, asked questions, but Eli only said one thing. She cared. They never understood. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Eli stood near the old barn. The air felt different, warm, electric. The wind carried a faint hum, low and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. He froze. The light began to shimmer across the field, faint blue at first, then brighter, spreading like a wave. His heart raced. The same glow he'd seen before. "Impossible," he whispered. Then out of the light, a shape appeared, small, graceful, moving slowly through the mist. It was her, Nira. Her form was half light, half solid, like she was standing between two worlds. Her golden eyes shone softly, filled with emotion. Eli couldn't move. "Nira, is that you?" She smiled in that same gentle, uncertain smile that once changed everything. "You remember me?" He laughed through tears. "How could I ever forget?" "I am not fully here," she said, her voice like music carried by wind. "But I feel your world." "Feel you," he stepped closer. "You came back," she nodded slowly. "Your love called me. The power they feared. It was never my energy. It was yours." Eli frowned, not understanding. She touched his chest with her glowing hand. "Your heart, human heart, connected to everything. You gave me strength when my own failed. You changed me." The world around them pulsed, grass glowing, wind swirling, stars flickering above. "But how?" he whispered. "When I rose into their ship," she said, "I showed them what I learned, mercy, courage, love. They saw your heart. They saw humanity. It changed them. It changed everything." Her voice trembled as her light began to fade. "Now I must go again, but not forever." Eli reached out, gripping her hand of light. "Stay, please." Tears shimmered in her golden eyes. "I am in every breath of wind, every spark of life you touch. Love never leaves, Eli. It only changes shape." He squeezed her hand tighter, even as it turned to light. "I'll wait," he whispered. Her voice, fading like a dream, replied, "And I'll find you." In every heartbeat, then she was gone. The glow faded, leaving only the quiet whisper of the fields and the warmth of the setting sun. Eli looked up at the sky, smiling through tears. For the first time since that stormy night when he found her, the smelly, ugly alien girl, he truly understood what she meant. Love had not just saved her. It had changed everything. Even the stars seemed to shine brighter for it. The end, they laughed when the farmer took home the smelly, ugly alien girl, but love changed everything. A story of courage, compassion, and how one simple human heart proved stronger than God's.